Today in the news, AMD is about to boost its Adrenalin, GPU availability goes from bad to worse, and ASUS fixes a first world problem. What's up guys, I'm Snows, and this is your boot sequence. Let's get started with AMD. It's been a while since we got an update on this, but we finally do. Unfortunately, the information doesn't come from AMD, so that means you should take it with a grain of salt. The last big update for their Radeon software package was back in 2019, December I believe, with the AMD Radeon Software Adrenalin 2020 edition. With it came some highly requested features, such as integer scaling for sharper retro gaming on higher resolution displays, Radeon Boost to boost your FPS by reducing the resolution dynamically when the mouse movement is detected, and we saw some updates to features like RIS, Radeon Anti-Lag, and more. Well, the company is due for an update, and according to Hungarian website Pro Hardware, it comes with some needed upgrades. First, Radeon Boost will be upgraded. Right now, it reduces the resolution on the entire screen except for HUD elements, which means that more static parts of the frame, like let's say the gun in your hand in an FPS, will look a little blurry and pixelated when the resolution steps down. The new update will instead focus only on the fastest moving parts of the screen to allow for virtually the same performance boost, but without the trade-off incurred in the older version. Now, this is not AMD's response to DLSS. That would be the Fidelity FX Super Resolution from the company that is supposed to come in the future. Unfortunately, this feature would have to be implemented on a game-by-game basis, similar to DLSS. The new Adrenalin update would come to your PC in the next 2 months, as it is rumored to release in the spring of 2021. Hopefully, the super resolution thing will come out with it. Moving on, we got Intel once again in the news for their shady practices. First, compatibility. If you had a 10th gen processor, you would be equipped with one of these, either a H410, B460, H470, or Z490 motherboard. There are others, but these are the most popular. With the imminent launch of the 11th gen Rocket Lake S, Intel warns you that if you have a H470 or a Z490 motherboard, you would need to update the BIOS. That's fine, but they add that if you have a H410 or B460 motherboard, you can forget about upgrading to Rocket Lake S. Now you might say, who cares? Well, people who don't buy K-series or overclockable CPUs, they might have opted for a B460 motherboard as it has most of the feature of H470, or they might have gone for an H410 to save money. And these people now have zero upgrade path to the next generation. Some motherboard vendors though are now selling V2 versions of their H410 and B460 motherboards that support Rocket Lake S, but what they do is essentially take the H470 chipset and fit it on lower end models. That's pretty sneaky. The second thing that Intel did is respond to Apple's M1 cherry-picked claims with cherry-picked Intel benchmarks. To be honest, I kind of agree with Intel. Apple kind of had to cherry-pick their stuff since the M1 is brand new and not supported as widely as the Intel platform, so they're not going to show something where it's just not supported. Nonetheless, Intel compared games that run on M1 against their own 1185 G7. And honestly, Intel kind of makes a case for Apple here. The M1 actually beats Intel in gaming sometimes. Anyways, Intel went ahead and showed the second part of the chart, which just says that the M1 doesn't support certain games, which is understandable. Moving on, we got Nvidia. We know that the company is launching the RTX 3060 fairly soon. It was said to be late February. Well, new information obtained by WCCF Tech says that the new GPU will be available this month on the 25th at 6 a.m. Pacific. At $329, it's pretty cheap, and I wouldn't be surprised if it also sold out instantly. So stay at the ready on that refresh button if you're looking to buy one. With that though, a European retailer named Alternate spoke with Nvidia about availability of GPUs for the rest of Q1. That's the end of this month and the whole month of March. And it looks like we're going from bad to worse. According to Alternate's information, the availability goes as follows. For the RTX 3090, very few deliveries, but only a few open orders. For the RTX 3080, very few cards coming with many open orders. For the RTX 3070, few cards incoming, but few open orders, and for the RTX 3060 Ti, very few cards coming and a moderately high amount of open orders. So yeah, if you're in the market right now, the green team is going to be hard to find. Then let's talk about M.2 drives. If you've ever had to deal with one, you inevitably had to deal with the insanely tiny screws used to mount them on your motherboard. One flick of the wrist and boom. It's either hidden somewhere on your motherboard and you have to kind of shake it out, or you dropped it on the floor and it's sayonara. Well, Asus is here to fix that issue with the tiniest latch I've ever seen since dealing with ribbon cables on the Switch controllers. It's just a tiny piece of plastic that locks your M.2 in place. I can't believe no one has thought of that before. It's actually pretty simple. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for the catch up. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Drop a like if you liked it, a comment if you want to talk about today's stories. As usual, you can click right here to see the latest video right here. Subscribe to the channel, stay frosty my dudes, and I'll see you on the next one. By the way, some of you asked what happened to my finger on the last video. I cut carrots and cut through my finger. Take care.